I just feel like this is a game that kind of misses us. We're not that interested in it. I'm not trying to demean it or diminish it in any way other than that the dialogue that I've seen is cringy and bad, no doubt. Anyone trying to defend that and say it's like this, it's like this, it's like this, it's like context is everything. And in that context, it's not very good. But yeah. I'm also kind of astounded by the graphical downgrade of it. It doesn't look the same to me in its final product, which is disappointing. I have a lot of questions about Luminous Productions' future in Square Enix and as a studio entirely, and all of the rest. But Chris, what have you made about what's going on with Forespoken? We're also waiting on to see, we'll see in a couple of weeks how the game sold, but it just doesn't seem to be doing very well, and it's become, like so many things, is even getting sucked into the culture war, which is so lame because it really doesn't belong in the culture war. I mean, this game really, really, not that Hogwarts Legacy does, but this certainly doesn't. Just because a black woman is the protagonist, I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I question whether or not there even is a culture war, to be honest with you. But I do think that some...
Wait, I'm sorry. You mean that overall?
Sincerely, I think sincerely, a lot of this is engagement driven and monetary, and it's all fucking bullshit to me. But I'll be real, like I haven't seen like this idea of like people who don't like Forspoken are racist. I'm sure like maybe like some people on Twitter say that, but I have not seen a single, like, this is not a controversy that I'm even privy to. It seems to me that everybody's pretty much on the same page. They're like, yeah, the dialogue's not very good, and it's even in the review process, it's getting like mild, like high 60s, mid to low 70s. And it seems like, I don't know, I haven't seen 2016 era outrage about it in the arena that I thought I would, or that it would exist in the same context back then. Like, it's not like this big symbol of like, oh, you hate black people if you don't like Forspoken. I personally haven't seen that, and I pay attention to this stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Maybe like in like quote retweets to like Maddie's video.
I think Jaffe's gotten in some hot water, but I cannot tell. He got something like he said something that people wrote up about him saying that it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
But then he denied it, and it seemed like a whole big mess. I didn't really understand it. So it's floating out there somewhat.
It doesn't seem to be a big thing to me. It's not like Hogwarts Legacy is like way bigger of a story. You know what I mean? As far as that kind of thing goes. Look, it just looks not good. It looks at most fine, and at worst very, very grating. It really is. I really think it's just that writing, man. Like, writing does a lot of games in. Like, storytelling does a lot of games in. Like, I think the main reason why I haven't, like, I've been wanting to start Neon White for a long time, but I just like, I know it's got that like visual novel kind of like anime thing going on, and I'm just like, can I do it? Like, can I do it? Like, I don't know.
It's an important component.
It's an important component. Like, and it might. By the way, I'm not saying anything about Neon White. I haven't played it yet, but it's a big deal to people. And if people think the dialogue looks terrible, they're perfectly reasonable to criticize it. I think a lot of the weird gaslighting about Maddie's tweet is wild though. Like, people are like, this isn't even that bad, and it's like, yeah, I mean, this isn't as bad as the other thing, but it exists in the context of the space. Like, that is part of the game that has all that other terrible dialogue in it. So like, yeah, this is like probably not the worst aspect of it, but it's part of something that's worse. So like, it's not like the one bad line in like a critically acclaimed movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking bizarre that people just erase the context of every, like, this is what's only, it's like a lacking of object permanence almost.
Well, what I think is clear to me, and I think you're right, and Dustin, I'll kick it over to you, is I think the major thing working against Forspoken becoming more engaged in whatever culture situations are going on, or whether they're real or imagined, I guess, is the game just isn't worth it. Like, what it just seems like a game that no one's really going to get worked up over, because it's not. Yeah. It just, I've been in this industry a long time. Sometimes my takes are off, no doubt about it. Sometimes my tastes are surprised when I play something that I didn't know I was going to like. But I've been playing games for a long ass time, and I know what I like and what I don't. And I can kind of look at things and say, and this game reminds me of that. It's like, that's why I said, like, my bigger questions have to do with Luminous Productions' future, why Sony was even interested in this game at all, if it came part and parcel with Final Fantasy 16, which might be possible. I mean, there are all sorts of different ideas here to pull at. So pull at the thread however you'd like.
Yeah, I feel like some of the toxicity around this game has to do with the fact that it is a game that PlayStation paid to have as an exclusive, and so you do have the toxic console warriors, whether it's the Xbox fans like overly going out of their way to bash it, or on the opposite end, the PlayStation side that's overly trying to praise it at the same time, or act like it's not a big deal, or like, oh, this isn't that bad. It's like, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, like these things normally are. I don't know. The whole thing about the racial aspect, I think that anyone who's looking at this that has any semblance of common sense knows that this isn't a race thing at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The main takeaway, I think the main point I made on the sacred symbols defining Duke, which again, I don't want to repeat myself for people who are going to listen to that also, but it's really just not a big issue because bad games are forgotten about. We're going to forget about this game. You know what? This comes out on Friday. Dead Space is out. No one cares about Forespoken anymore. It's no longer worth talking about because we're all talking about Dead Space. And then when Harry Potter comes out, Dead Space will be dead. And we'll talk about Harry Potter. And then the next game, it's just like, I don't know. It's the talk of the moment to see if, like, I don't know, we've talked about it, how people will find anything they possibly can to try to score points with their side. And this is just that in this moment. So I don't know. We'll see how this game actually shakes out. Maybe it'll do well in sales and maybe it'll do well in Japan. But for the moment, it just seems like a non-issue.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Luminous. We're going to talk a little bit about Square Enix later with one of their games that are getting shut down and one of their games as a service. And I just think that they're looking to cut costs, and Luminous Productions, I just don't think they're a very good team. I got to be honest with you. I didn't see it in Final Fantasy 15 and I've tried, and I just, at least from the outside, don't see it here. They take a long ass time to make their games too. And this is what you get. So it's a little confusing. I think this should be a stark reminder that, and this game comes from a different Square Enix. Remember, this game was probably greenlit 5 or 6 years ago and was in pre-production even before that. And so Square Enix is different now, in my opinion. And I think Square Enix realizes that they have to lean into Japan and to what makes them Japanese and what makes their games Japanese, and not try to split the difference. It's not that you can't use Western protagonists or anything like that. I just think that the whole feel, the whole vibe, the Marvel Disney vibe of this game is not Square Enix. That vibe in Square Enix games comes from Disney and Kingdom Hearts. It shouldn't be in other games just because, in my opinion. And so got to rein it in a little bit. And so I think you will. I don't think Forspoken's representative of the modern Square Enix. And I feel bad that we don't have much more to say about the game just because I don't think we're providing a very good service to the audience on this game, but I just don't want to play things that we don't want to play. I'm not interested in doing that.